Well, hello guys, and welcome back to Ashley Main Makes. And today I'm going to be doing the thing that every YouTuber does around this time of year. And I'm going to go through everything I made in 2024, how my Make 9 went, and talk about my goals and plans for 2025 and what I've got going on. I am filming this at the end of the day at my first day back at work, so I am both a little disheveled and a little sassy. But I really wanted to talk to you guys, and it felt like a good enough time to film, so anyway, I'm gonna jump right into it. I've got a lot to talk about today. I actually did make quite a bit more than I thought. That all being said, I did kind of want to preface this video a little bit with a big caveat that I moved countries this last year. So I moved from Austin, Texas, back up to my home country of Canada. And so not only was that a huge temperature change, I went from highs of plus 40 Celsius to minus 40 Celsius. So that's been a ride. I changed my job and I'm working in an office now instead of being a work from home troll. I'm a lot more client facing and I've got a lot more like kind of business things to do. So, you know, my life's kind of changed a lot. There was a lot of upheaval in the last year. So not only was my life a little chaotic, but my sewing was a little chaotic, and I think my plans have changed, not that much, but I think now I know a little bit more what I need to be sewing and kind of the pieces that I need to do. Now, the other thing I wanted to say too is this is probably going to seem like I made a lot of garments. One, I have a YouTube channel where I make things, so obviously I'm going to do that. Also, relatively to a lot of people, I didn't make that many garments, so everything is all relative. Something to keep in mind too is now that I've moved back to Canada, my options for clothing are a lot more limited. You know, the plus size market up here is just not the same as it is in the United States, and ordering things is a lot more cost prohibitive in a lot of cases, so I can't really order clothes that I need to fill out my wardrobe. So I've really been trying to crank clothes out a little bit just because I actually do need things for my job and actually to wear. I didn't really buy any garments this last year, so kind of what you're seeing is what I actually got. I bought, you know, like bras and underwear and socks and things like that, but not really any whole garments because it's just not very feasible. Say for instance, if I wanted to like order from Torrid online, it's $50 in shipping. And so that's just not something I'm willing to do, especially if I'm not sure the garment's gonna fit. We do have a couple of Canadian stores, but they're nice, but very cost prohibitive in my case. Moving countries is very, very expensive. So I haven't really caught up to that either. So that's all to preface this. You know, I know a lot of people just like make the odd piece to kind of fill out their wardrobe, but I feel like my mindset has changed a little bit more up here just because it has become more of a necessity. Like if I have a party, I probably need to make a dress because otherwise that dress is probably going to cost me $250 and isn't going to fit that well and is going to be polyester. So yeah, so that's a lot to say. Like, don't feel bad about how many garments you made last year in comparison, either plus or minus. This is just my sewing and my hobby, and honestly I didn't sew for about a good 4 months, and even then my output hasn't been very high in comparison. So, long-winded way to say that, but let's get into what I actually made. So I did make a couple of garments before I left Austin, and actually the first one I did is one of my favorite garments of the year. I posted it in a short, so you might not have seen it because I didn't want to post a whole video. It's a Rita / Stanwyck, and I had made a couple of Rita variations already on the channel that last year. I made a lot of Ritas last year. That was kind of my like pattern of the year, if you will. So, but yeah, I love this because like obviously it's two of my favorite patterns mashed together. I just had a bee in my bonnet one day. I just like literally went to Joann's, got some quilting cotton and made a dress. And I love it. I wear it all the time. I wouldn't say it's the most appropriate thing for work just because it's got pretty short sleeves. And the Rita itself, I haven't worn a lot to work just because it is kind of a lot of chest in the front. And because it's that same square neckline in the back, it's kind of chilly in like if the air conditioning is blowing on you. So I haven't worn it that much. That particular dress I have worn with a sweater and I think it looks really cute. And I've gotten a lot of compliments on it. It's my fiance's favorite dress on me. And I think I would like to make another one. I think one of the things I might do is bring up the back just a little bit because sometimes it does show my bra, you know, depending on what I'm wearing, and I don't like to think about it that much. And I might do one with a little bit of a longer puff sleeve, like an elbow length puff sleeves, but maybe not one that's as big as the original couple I made, or the Gertie sleeve, because hers is more of a bell shape. So something to think about. I don't know if I have a fabric that I want to do it out of, but we'll think about it. I'm surely there's enough fabric behind me that there's something in there, but that's another thing I'm going to talk about in my goals for 2025. Next. So because I knew I had interviews coming up, I made a couple of pieces. I made a very basic navy pleated skirt out of some suiting from Joann's. And I've actually gotten a lot of wear out this. When I made it originally, I didn't like it that much just because the suiting is a little bit heavier than I thought it would be. But this skirt is really comfortable and the pockets are of course really great on it. I used the rectangular pocket pattern that I released in my pocket pattern set. And I used the same technique that I used on that DIY pleated skirt video. So I'll leave that up above. But yeah, I just kind of whipped this up because I knew I had interviews and I think it looks really professional while being a really easy project and being really comfortable. I'm a person that's more comfortable in skirts, and I'm not a big pencil skirt person, so this was kind of my version of that, let's say. The other thing I made to go with it was I made another Vista top. This one I made out of some handkerchief linen from fabric-store.com. And this is a mixed review project. As much as I love the Twig and Tail Vista, I feel like I picked the wrong fabric/sleeve combination. I picked to do the lantern sleeve, and what I didn't realize about the lantern sleeve is it's actually a bunch of pleats together. So it just meant that it got wrinkled every time I bent my arm, and so the pleats kind of got messed up every time I wore it, so I didn't really like that very much. I ended up taking the cuff out and putting in an elastic instead. I think doing gathers looks a lot more intentional in linen than, you know, having a wrinkly pleat, so I did like that. I was gonna do some trim on that flat part of the sleeve, but that flat part of the sleeve is actually really curved, which you wouldn't really know from looking at it on the model, but when you pull up the pattern piece, you're like, oh, that's quite a curved piece. It's sort of an optical illusion for it to go over your shoulder. So there was a few things here. I did end up using it for my interview, but I basically ended up using it like a shell. So I put it under a jacket and just kind of stuffed the sleeves in there because the fabric was thin enough. I have worn it a few times since, but not as much as I thought I would. I think part of it is the sleeve isn't quite long enough on me to have that kind of volume of sleeves. I also don't know if I really love that sleeve on me. I feel like it's a lot with, I don't know, having a large bust and then kind of where the sleeve starts, it just feels like a lot. I'm kind of tempted almost to take the sleeves off and just put in a basic like short sleeve and use it like a shell or making some other shell, because I think having basically a cream shell from this Vista pattern would be fantastic. So I think I just kind of overthought it and did too much of it, and it wasn't a good combination of sleeve and fabric. So just kind of a learning lesson. I think that's one of the big lessons I am taking away from this year, is that I really need to think about my pairing of fabric and pattern a little bit better, because even if I like them independently of each other, sometimes it's not the best. So yeah, so basically that's the last things I finished before I moved. So that was kind of all I got done for several months. I did do Me Made May for the first time this last year, so that's where some of the footage of those last two pieces are coming from. And I actually think that was a really good exercise. It was a lot of work. What I chose to do for Me Made May is I decided to photograph the outfits that I wore every day for my work week. So I think it was really good because it gave me a lot of insight into my wardrobe and what I was reaching for, what I was wearing. There started to be some repeats towards the end, but it was a really good experiment. I think overall, I don't know if I'm gonna do, I kind of want to do it again, even though it was a lot of work, because I think it gave me a lot of insight into my wardrobe, but because I had that going on and I had started my new job, there was just a lot going on. I didn't really get a ton of sewing done. The first projects where I actually got some sewing done, it looks like was June, kind of June, and then these photographs are from the beginning of July. So for that, I made 2 skirts. So I made both out of the Charm uniform skirt pattern. I did one really hacked version that's basically just the Charm uniform skirt is basically a 3/4 circle with a couple pleats in the front. So I just took out the pleats in the back and had it as an elastic. I really, really like this pattern, and I think I'm gonna make it again just because I think it's a really good size of skirt. I like the little bit of pleat detail. They were both successful in their way. I really like the plaid one, and I've gotten a lot of compliments on it, and I've worn it a lot since we hit fall and winter. When I made it, it was summer, so it just didn't make sense. So that's something to think about. The other one that I made out of the Ralph Lauren cotton linen blend, it's not quite the same as the Essex linen, so I thought it would kind of drape in a similar way, but it definitely has a bit more stiffness to it. It's a lot more like a twill. And while I like this skirt, and I still wear it like once a week anyways, so I don't know what I'm complaining about, but it feels like a lot when you're wearing it. Like it feels like a lot of skirt, and those buttons kind of, because of the way the fabric is, when you sit down, the buttons kind of stick out a little bit. And I don't know, I do really like it. I have worn it a lot. It's not like I don't wear it, but I think if I had my druthers, I would have made it with something with more drape. So that was a good lesson, and I continued to not learn that lesson, so we're really trying to remember that into the new year. I'm excited to try from Rick Rack Textiles here in town. They have a cotton rayon blend as one of their kind of standard fabrics, so I'm going to give that a go, because as much as I love the Essex linen, I don't think it looks as dressy or as seasonless as I would like it to, let's put it that way. Like it looks summery. So, I'm trying to find my perfect skirt fabric. So I think I'm going to try it again in this other fabric, and we're going to see how that goes. But anyway, moving on. The next thing was just a lot of prepping for Shirtwaist September. So I talked to Serena, who is my collaborator on that. If you haven't seen that, I'll leave the playlist down below because we're planning on running it again this next September. So start your engines now, even though it's January. I would love for people to work it into their plans. But yeah, so I started planning for Shirtwaist September. I was starting to reach out to people and talk to people, different creators, to see if they wanted to be a part of it. And I was starting to prep my own pattern. So originally I was overly ambitious and I was going to do 2 patterns for Shirtwaist September. And honestly, that Sew Over It Nicole took me so long. The fitting on that was a bit of a beast. I also filmed that how to do a full bust adjustment, which took me quite a while, but I think that's a really good reference video in general, because now it's like, I do a full bust adjustment a lot on the channel, so at least now I can go look at that video and I don't have to explain it every time. So if you haven't seen it, please go watch it. I spent a lot of effort on it. But anyway, so I did that, and I am super happy with the pattern that I came out with for the Nicole dress, but I don't know if I would make Sew Over It again, just because it's not, their standard block is just too far away from my body, and their instructions kind of made me scratch my head in parts. Like, it's just, sometimes you just don't jam with a pattern company, and that's totally okay, and it doesn't make it a bad pattern necessarily. It's just like, it's just not for me. And that dress in particular, I do really like. I've gotten a lot of compliments on it. There was something weird with the interfacing and the pattern. I think because the fabric has a little bit of stretch to it, I might have accidentally stretched it a little bit when I put the interfacing on. So when I washed it, it lightly bubbled a little bit, which I don't love when you look at it up close. And I don't think anyone else would notice, but it drives me crazy. And I kind of have to just like iron it every time because of that, because the collar does this kind of light bubble thing, I gotta like make sure I iron it every time. So I haven't worn it as much as I might want. I do really love it though. I think I'm gonna wear it to a thing where I'm talking next week. So I think it was a worthwhile make. I kind of want to make it again. I kind of want to make a different version, maybe without the collar, which seems silly, but I love the way this bodice is. So I think I might do that. So let me know if you'd like to see that. I'm excited to make a couple more versions of it. I know I said I was going to make one with a fuller skirt, which I think I want to do. So that's definitely on the docket, which kind of getting into 2025 plans, but that's kind of where we're at with that. So yeah, I really want to utilize that bodice because I spent a lot of time fitting it and I think it's like mwah now at this point. So, and I had so much fun doing Shirtwaist September. It was so cool to see everyone's makes, see you guys' makes, like see everyone participating, and it was kind of an awesome experience. So I'm really looking forward to it. Then my fall make this year was another couple of skirts. So I made a couple of Stanwyck skirts again. The Stanwyck was actually one of the first things I ever made on my channel. And so I kind of wanted to talk about all the details that I include in a skirt now and kind of how my process has changed over time. Like kind of what I do for my basic skirts, Stanwyck or not. You could definitely apply it to the Upton. You could apply it to other things. But as far as these makes go, the green one, as much as I love that brushed cotton twill I got, it is quite heavy and it suffers from kind of the same problem as the blue skirt that I talked about. It does stick out really nicely and I still really like it and I have been wearing it a lot. So, I mean, really nothing too wrong with it, honestly. It just feels kind of like a lot of skirt when you're wearing it. And I kind of thought the stiffness would have it kind of have more shape without wearing a petticoat or anything like that. But I think when I'm just bopping around in life on the daily, I just kind of want it to have a bit more flow to it. So I don't know, it's just something to think about for the future. It does still fill the void, as it were. But I think I would like to make some more skirts out of something like a suiting, or like I say, that other fabric I got from Rick Textiles. I'm going to see what that looks like. The other one I made, I'm actually wearing right now. I love it. It's out of, again, the Essex Cotton Linen Blend, only this one had Lurex in it, and I put some big funky pockets from Twig and Tail on the front. I did all my same techniques on it. I do really love it. It does sparkle, so I don't know how, like, I mean, I wore it to work today because it was Monday and I felt like I needed some sparkle in my life, but like probably for most things, or if I was seeing clients, I probably wouldn't wear a sparkle skirt. So it's been kind of a bit of a weekend skirt. I mean, it is really comfortable and I really like it, and I'm not sad I made it, and I wore it over the holidays, so that was great. All right, so last but not least was my last video, which was my Christmas dress. So this is another, I feel like we bookended it. You know, the first project of the year and this last project of the year probably are some of my favorites. I absolutely love this dress. I feel like this is one where the pattern and the fabric actually match up perfectly. This kind of gathered style and that rayon satin, it just looks so lovely, and I love this pattern on me. The fitting was super easy. I made this dress in a couple of days and I think it's fantastic. I think I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of it because it is sort of, like I say, I made it as a Christmas dress because it's red and green, but essentially it's a tiki dress, so I could wear it any time of year, really. I could wear it in the summer, and the colors are a little bit darker, so I think I could wear it in the fall, no problem. So I really like this dress. I really want to make this pattern again also. So I'm really proud of myself for making it, actually. So to roll into the next thing, this dress was on my Make 9, and it's one of the few things that I actually got done as it says. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but needless to say, I think this is super successful and I really want to make a couple more versions of this dress, so let me know if you guys would like to see that. I also want to order more of this fabric because it was fantastic. Next up, we're going to talk about my Make 9. This was technically in my plans list for this last year, And this was the first time I had kind of set up a Make 9, which is probably a little ambitious considering I knew I was moving countries. But we'll get into why, and I think for me, I don't think it works the best with my brain. I don't think this is the way I'm gonna go for this next year. And I think I need to think about how I plan my makes a little bit better, and I generally want to try and have a little bit more fun. So anyway, let's start off with my Make 9. My first one on my Make 9 list was actually a Big 4 pattern. This was Simplicity 9688. And basically what it is it's a 70s inspired blazer. And I still really want to make this, but I think, you know, with this new job and everything, and this new job takes a lot more brain power than my old job, let's put it that way. So sometimes when I come home, I just don't have it in me to figure stuff out. And I know with my last Big 4 project, it didn't go very well. I ended up scrapping it and ended up making another Rita, which was my Halloween project last year. So yeah, so that was not great because they don't test these as much as they should. But I still really want to make it. I really want a longer jacket of this style. Like I really do want a 70s inspired jacket. And like I did get the cashmerette blazer pattern, but it's more of a traditional jacket, which I don't always love, but I bought it because it's cashmerette and I know it'll fit, and I've never really made a truly tailored blazer before. So like, I think it would be a stretch goal and I think it would be really good. And I still really want one. I think I've got some other things that should be ahead of it in the list that I need more in my wardrobe. I still need a blazer because, you know, I could really use one. I did buy one. I shouldn't say I bought no clothes last year. I bought one blazer last year and that was to wear to the interview. And I really love it. It's in that same red that shirt dress is in. I love it, but it's more of a relaxed, like Ponte style blazer. So I think this project, not that it needs rethinking, like I might go ahead and make this pattern. I don't know. I'm debating whether I should just make the cashmerette one first just to see how it is and then maybe lengthen it and add some of the details like the larger lapel and the tie and that. Or if I should just roll ahead with the Big 4 one. I don't know. I'm having a lot of debate about it and I don't know. Further study. The next thing that I was planning on making, I actually succeeded in doing, which is the cashmerette Dartmouth top. And this is a super old cashmerette pattern, but I love it. And I am actually sitting in it right now. That's what this top is. And I really, really love it. This is actually my third one. So I made this 3 times over. I haven't talked about it in a video yet because I kind of want to talk about it in a little bit detail because there's a reason it's the third one, unfortunately. So, but I love this pattern. I think it's the right amount of like retro, but also like modern, and it's kind of dressy, and I think it looks really nice with skirts. So I think, you know, I can see it easily being a thing I wear as kind of a bit of a work uniform. I like wearing jerseys on my top half. So I think it's a really good option for me. I would like to make a couple more. I kind of want to maybe hack it a little bit even though I've got 3 now. So yeah, love it. 10 out of 10, totally worth it. We're just going to talk about cashmerette a lot. So the next one I had was actually another Big 4 pattern. And this is one where if you procrastinate long enough, cashmerette will come up with a pattern that fills the void. So I was going to make this more like looser style of button-down shirt and do a full bust adjustment on it and everything. And this was the only one I could find. Originally, cashmerette only had that more fitted style of shirt out. And then they came out with the Vernon. And so I bought the Vernon pattern, but I haven't actually made it up yet. I bought it in paper format here a couple months ago. So I am really excited to do this one. I think this one has moved up on the list a little bit. So basically the reason this didn't get made was we've had a pivot, and pivots are fine. And I would much rather make the cashmerette one. I think I'm going to have a much easier time with it, and it's going to hurt my brain less, and I'm going to be happier. Fourth one is sort of along that same line. So I had the idea, and I have this whole Pinterest board, I'll leave my Pinterest down below as well. I put all my video concepts on Pinterest as well. Like if I've collected a bunch of images for my videos, I leave it up on my Ashley Main Makes YouTube list. And so if you are curious, like the last video I did, that 1940s inspired dress, I put all that inspiration on that board along with all the patterns, supplies, materials, all of that all on Pinterest in one place if you're a visual person like me. I have this Pinterest board going of all these 1940s dressing gowns / house coats. And I was really planning on making something like this, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to do it. I think my original plan was to use the Cashmerette Rose Claire and then do a hack, and I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to hack a collar on it or not, or just make it as is. And again, you procrastinate long enough, and Cashmerette came out with another pattern to fill the void. So Cashmerette came out with the Fisky Sleep set. So it's actually a whole set that comes with like kind of a tank with a shelf bra in it set. It's got like a robe and pajama pants and like a whole thing. I just want to make the robe / house coat. I do kind of want to vintage-ify it up, and I think that project might be the next thing I make because it's cold here and it's really cold in the house. So I feel like I could really use that stat. I have to go and get the pattern printed because I do own it, but I haven't gotten it printed yet because it came as part of my Cashmerette Club membership. So that's going to happen. I already have fabric for it, so this is very soon on the docket, but the reason it didn't get made was another pivot. So that's what we're doing. Also, I think the other thing is too, when I made this list, because I made it in January last year, I was very much in a winter mindset. And by the time I got around to sewing, and like we had moved and everything, it was past winter. So I didn't feel like tackling a lot of these projects, and I think that's kind of the flaw in this Make 9 list for me, was I picked a lot of things that were things that I wanted at the time in the winter, and then when it got to like March or April, when I was finally settled and starting to sew again, none of it seemed that appealing. So kind of thinking about how I plan projects a bit more seasonally and trying to get ahead of it a little bit, maybe making things like half a season to a season ahead sort of thing. Because Canada is exceptionally seasonal. One of the reasons I didn't do a lot of sewing over last summer either was honestly because it was so hot in here. I forgot about what Canada is like in living with a place with no air conditioning. So it's been a ride. I need seasonal clothes to a certain extent. Like I like to layer in the wintertime, but I want things more seasonally than I think I'm thinking about when I'm doing something like a Make 9 list. So that's something to think about. The next one on this list was the Stylark Belle woven dress, which was ticked off by my Christmas dress. And I am so happy I made this finally. I was really afraid of making a Stylark pattern, and that worked out fantastically. Thank you, the ladies over at the Curvy Coven. That's been so cool. And I've actually joined now, so it's really fun. And they're going to be doing shirt dresses for September as part of their calendar. So if you'd like to join us over there, let me know. But, well, maybe not let me know. Let them know. But yeah, anyway, super excited about that I made that. I love it. It's like, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. But also it was a little bit easier because it was gathered and I was able to do this like sort of cheater FBA. So there's a lot of things going on there, but solid pattern. Next up, we have another pivot. So the next one that I had up on my list was the Zadie blouse from Sew Over It. And based on how that shirt dress went, nope. I thought that, no, I'm not going to make this pattern. I do think generally what this void needs to be filled by is another peasant blouse. And I was talking to Mare. You probably watch her if you watch me. She used to be called Synchronicity. I'll leave her channel down below. But we were having like a sidebar conversation about peasant blouses and kind of cottagecore. And the cool thing about peasant blouse is it's really timeless. Like every era, like you can use it for history bounding. You can use it for 40s style outfits, 50s style outfits, 70s style outfits, modern outfits. It's really kind of fantastic. And while this Zadie blouse doesn't come across like a straight up peasant blouse, it kind of is. And she had reminded me that the Twig and Tail driftwood is pretty close, actually. And the Twig and Tail Vista fits me so well that I should give it a go. And I already owned the pattern because I had gotten it gifted to me for participating in the, I want to call it the sewing trials, which is not the word for it. Pattern test, that's what it's called. So I got it for free as part of the pattern test. So I had it anyway, and I realized actually that their adaptive front option is actually a button-down option that looks super similar to this Zadie blouse. And the cool thing about that pattern is it comes with either the button-down option or not, or like just kind of a almost faced option. And it also comes with a skirt to make it into a dress, short sleeve, long sleeve. So I think in getting it printed, I'll have a lot more options. That's one of the things that I'm thinking about with my patterns a bit more is, can I make multiple? Like, would I want multiple of that garment? Will they look the same? So I'm really excited to make that one. I think it'll be really good. One of my, well, okay, let's get into a goal for 2025. One of my goals for 2025 is to sew some blouses. A lot of the fabrics behind me, I don't actually have enough to make a dress, and a lot of them are blouse weight. So I've only got like, 2.5 yards sort of thing, enough for me to make a nice light floaty blouse. And so I really need to make some of them. And I feel like I love peasant blouses. I used to wear a ton of them. And so I think this might be a good way to kind of stash bust a little bit and get some blouses. So as it moves into the spring, that's probably something I'm going to be looking at. Next one up on the list is another cashmerette. So either this list got made or turned into cashmerette partially. So the next one on my list was to make the cashmerette Hampton / Holyoke dress, and this was directly inspired by a post that they had put up when the Hampton dress came out, so that's how long ago this was. So this was inspired by that, and because I just loved how it looked, and so I really wanted to make a dress like this, and I did actually make it. I haven't shared it on the channel yet because I just finished it here over New Year's. It had been sitting, it was actually supposed to be my project for Black Friday to show off my cashmerette code for the Cashmerette Club. Obviously it didn't happen. I also got my new kitten, Maple, at that time. And so life was chaos there for a minute. And so a lot of the handworks type stuff where I would sit on the couch and watch a movie and sew buttons on, in this case, was not really possible, has not really been possible. So when I went over for New Year's at my parents', I took this project with me and actually finished sewing the buttons on. So that was really good. It struck midnight and I'd actually just finished putting the last button on. So that worked out really well. But needless to say, we'll be thinking about it a little bit before I do that again. But I really, really like this dress. I'm going to be sharing it with you guys. There's a couple things I would change about it, but overall I really like it. I would also like to make another version of this pattern because it does fit really well and I love the princess seams. I think I would like to make it a little bit of a puff sleeve. I think that would be really cute. Like not a super puff on me because I don't love a super puff, but I like a little bit of a puff or a raglan sleeve because I feel like I have more movement in my arms in woven garments. And for me, that talks with my hands. It's a lot more comfortable. So I think we're going to do that as well. So I've got 3 dresses that I would really like to remake. So, and I think that's one of the things I'm struggling with a little bit right now is like, it looks like I have a lot of fabric, but a lot of this fabric would not make those dresses. I've got maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 cuts that I actually have enough to make a dress out of. So that's a big mistake. And so I need to make some of it into clothes and blouses so I can make space for longer cuts that I can make into dresses is basically what I'm seeing. All right. The next one up was actually a project for Adam. I did not get this project done either. This is another McCall's pattern, but it's not a super fitted thing. It's basically a basic fall coat. I was gonna make this for him in the fall, but he's actually lost a lot of weight. And so he was losing a lot of weight during the fall. And so I kind of held off a little bit because this is more of a staple piece that I'm hoping he'll have for a little bit while if I put in some effort into it. So, and obviously again, he didn't need it when it was so hot outside. And then when I thought about making it, his measurements were fluctuating. So I wasn't, we'll see how it goes. I kind of want to make it for him for spring. He seems to have leveled off a bit, but I got to retake his measurements. So we're just we're going to see how that goes. I'm not going to put myself into a lot of pressure on that. We're going to look at that. My final plan for Make 9 was Cashmere Appleton hack, which I don't know why I haven't done this. Well, I kind of know. It's the same problem that I have with this list. So I was going to do this in a sweater knit and basically make myself a cute little wrap sweater. And I really should, because it would only take me a few hours. You know, I have the pattern already. I've made it before. And I have the fabric already, so I should just go ahead and make it now that it's wintertime. But again, it's just one of those things that I didn't feel like making when it was 35 above. So yeah, so that I should really just go ahead and make, because I could really use that, because again, I think it would look really lovely with all my skirts and stuff. So should just go ahead and do that. I know it'll take me a few hours. I think that's one of the things that I did well on this list, was I did have a good balance of like stretch projects and kind of easy projects. Long story short, the easy projects got done and kind of the medium projects got done. The hard projects did not get done because, you know, it was a tough year and we're being kind to ourselves. That's what we're doing. So, you know, and it's like, let's take that energy into this year, right? So on that note, I'm going to talk a little bit about channel goals too. So this last year, my goal was to hit 5,000 subscribers and we are extremely close. So if you're not subscribed, I would love if you would subscribe and help me reach that goal. Apparently 5,000 is a bit mythical in terms of actually having more revenue from the channel. So I would really love that, really appreciate that. Also, if you're down there, please give me a like, or if you're already subscribed, because that's actually what helps with the algorithm. The subscriptions don't as much. That's more on like vanity and advertiser end. So I would love if you go and like. So that was kind of my goal. While I didn't hit my goal, we are really, really close. So, and I think, again, I'm not going to be hard on myself about it. I think I would have probably hit it had I not missed a few uploads. I missed an upload in the fall, and of course I missed several in the spring. So again, to even be close is fantastic and is actually probably exceeding my goal in all expectations. So there's that. My other goal was to hit over 1,000 on Instagram, which I also did. That's another metric for advertisers. They're kind of like a minimum 1,000 on Instagram. So I did that as part of running Shirtwaist September. And it was really, really nice to see a lot of you guys coming over from here onto there and having more communication. And I really, really liked it. So like I say, do go follow me over there at Ashley Main Makes, same as it is over here. So that was fantastic. We're going to see how it goes. It's kind of strange. Like, I've been doing this for 2.5, almost 3 years now. So it's nice to be starting to hit some milestones with it a little bit and starting to actually like have some growth. I think my other thing is I'd like to hit like, you know, at least like 1,500 views per video. And we seem to be doing pretty good on that. So you guys seem to be liking the content, but let me know what you guys would like to see from me in the new year. I think, you know, we're starting to get into the point where I've talked about a lot of things. I think I would like to talk a bit more about kind of some concepts or things I'm thinking about or things going on in the sewing community. So let me know if you want to hear that and what kind of projects you want to see me work on. You know, I feel like we've tackled a lot of things. I know you guys really like when I do sort of those vintage hacks, like the 40s inspired hacks. And of course, I'm going to continue to do more of those. I think I'd like to make some more 70s inspired garments. That was sort of my first vintage love, if you will. And I'm finding there's a lot of crossover between sort of the late 40s that I really love and kind of the late 60s, early 70s that I love. There's a lot of crossover in styles I've noticed. So both seem to work really well in my wardrobe, and kind of the layering in that works, kind of lends itself, even the kind of more 50s pieces that I have that I've made from Gertie, you know, depending on how you mix and match them, and wearing them with boots for sure makes them look more 70s. So that's kind of something I want to explore. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that and what you kind of want to see. Like I say, I want to remake some dresses too and kind of put my own spin on them. So I might be doing some hacks here and there. So let me know what kind of hacks you want to see. This is just kind of a laundry list of things I want to do and kind of things I'm thinking about. I know this fall, I think I was pushing myself a little far or a little hard, shall I say. And it was starting to become a little unfun there towards the end just because I was so kind of that Nicole dress put me behind, and then I was really pushing for Black Friday and I didn't even make that goal. And then it was like, oh shit, it's Christmas, so I had to make a Christmas dress because I had some IRL parties to go to. So it's just one of those things where it kind of snowballed. And then, you know, over the Christmas break, I took a lot of break. Like I sewed a little bit, like I made this shirt and I did a little bit of stuff here and there. I organized a bit, even though it's a disaster in here again, even though you can't tell. So I did a little bit of that, but I didn't end up doing a lot of sewing because I just needed a little bit of break. So I think one of the things I want to do is, like, because my sewing is more filling my wardrobe gaps now, I need to still have ways to keep it interesting and fun. I think that's one of the things, and I still want to be excited about it and work on it. Now that I've had a little bit of a break, I feel more refreshed, and there's a few topics that I want to talk about, and there's things I'm excited about, you know, and I want to make those dresses. And it's funny because I also feel like my sewing has come a long way in the last year. You know, the last few things I've made, the fitting is so much better on them. I've really come a long way with that. There's some projects that I'd like to refit. Like I think I'd really like to refit the wrap dress and see how that goes. Like there's a few things, but I can tell I've gotten a lot better in this last year. The garments are a lot more wearable. So revisiting some of that, you know, the whole point was to fit them and then be able to use them again and again, to have things that work well on me. So we got to do that. We got to do why we did that with the patterns, right? So I hope that's still going to be interesting to see. So, but of course, I'm sure I'll be fitting lots of other things along the way. I mean, that always happens. We do have a few projects kind of more concretely planned out. Like I say, I really want to do that house coat, like a vintage inspired house coat. That's kind of probably next on the docket, along with the Vernon, the Cashmere Vernon. I'd really like to do that because I think that, again, would also really fill a hole. I want to do the Twig and Tail Driftwood. I'll probably do more of that in the spring. And then we're probably already rolling into Shirtwaist September. So I do want to try and do a couple this year again. We're going to see how it goes. And of course, doing a little bit of planning over the summer. I don't want to push myself too hard in the summer just because it's so hot. I'm really hoping maybe I can get I kind of want a new, like not a new, but a different Singer Genie. The one I bought was like $30 as a stopgap machine, but it turns out I really love that machine and it's from the 70s. So I really enjoy that machine. So I either want to try and get another one that's in better shape or repair the one I've got, because I really do love it for traveling and carrying it around, so that maybe I can like go somewhere that's cooler during the summer and actually do a little bit of sewing. But also I want to enjoy the little bit of nice weather that we have here in Canada. So there's that too. But yeah, so, you know, if I have to go to my parents' basement, I can take a sewing machine with me. It's kind of the thought. What else would I like to do? Yes, so shirt dresses, so Shirtwaist September. So that is happening. I think I might even try and get some prizes together this year. So let me know if you would like to do a prize. I think I might try and do like virtual prizes just because shipping and the dollar is insane right now. So I might be doing more like virtual prizes, PDF downloads, that sort of thing. So if you'd like to sponsor a prize, let me know. But that might be something I look at along with running that and drumming up some interest on that. The dress that I really want to make for that is actually the Charm Scout dress. I have it printed off and it was the #1 dress last year. It was the one that the majority of people made, like by a landslide. Probably 50% of the people that participated in the challenge made the Scout dress. So I kind of want to do it. I have some fabric for it. And I think it'd be super cute. So there's that. So I really want to do that. So that's on the list. I kind of want to do a more modern one as well, because I think that would be kind of a fun take. So I've got a modern one. We'll see if we get there. we'll see if we get there. We might try and make it in the spring and then like remake it in the fall, but we're gonna see. We're gonna get there. So I'm excited for that. So we're gonna do that. And past that, I don't really want to plan anything. Like, that's lots. And I kind of want to give myself the freedom to be creative and do projects that are sparking my interest at the moment. You know, I'm very of my own whim. Like, sometimes I just like to make skirts because it's easy and it doesn't take a lot of brain power. And it's nice long seams that I can just sew and I'm brain dead and listen to a podcast and it's wonderful. You know, other times I want a bit of a challenge. I want to do something different. So, you know, just kind of understanding that about myself and that I'm not going to want to work with tweed in the middle of summer. Like, there's lots of factors to consider and it's my hobby. So I kind of, you know, I think you get caught up, well, I got caught up a little bit in like algorithm and grinding and that sort of thing. But I really, you know, I think it comes through the camera when I'm really enjoying it or not, or I'm feeling passionate about it or not. So, you know, I really don't want to lose my spark for it. So I think that's just something I'm going to do this next year. And we're going to talk about that a lot more. I kind of want to talk about things when I'm sewing and be a bit more casual. So we're going to do that. And probably for my final project, I know already that I'm going to need another Christmas dress for next year. I have 2 Christmas events already that I know about. And so I would like to make another Christmas dress. And I'm excited about that. So, and I'm hoping, my goal is to get it done early. My goal is to get it done early this next year because I know I have an event at the end of November that's an early Christmas thing, and it's a wonderful location for photos. So being the content creator, I really want to take some cute photos there because I think that would be amazing. So well, hopefully we're going to do that. So we'll see, fingers crossed, we'll get there. Probably I'll be rushing again as per usual. So, but yes, that's kind of what's on the docket for 2025. So I know I asked you guys a lot of questions today, but I would really love to know what kind of stuff you would like to see from me. What would be the most helpful to you? What kind of stuff you want to talk about? And do let me know about your plans for 2025. I know my plans were very like up in the air. But, you know, that's my side goal, is to be kind to myself and have some fun with my sewing. So I hope you guys are having fun with your sewing. Also, I'm hoping you had a restful and wonderful holiday break if you got one, and are having a good 2025 so far. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys!